I'm usually not nervous coming into these places. I actually noticed how I would be nervous like a year ago, but lately I was actually finding joy and pleasure and ease coming here, and this sense of I'm so glad I'm here. But today I kind of felt nervous. I don't know, like maybe that's something that new moon, full moon is bringing. I was sitting outside in a cold and I was meditating, and I was picking up this energy that this new full moon is bringing, and I kind of like it. I like it because it's like some full moons are very disruptive. I'm not saying that this one isn't, but it showed me that me as a Scorpio is quite prepared for disruption, so it's not a big deal, and so it left me a little bit more space to appreciate the aftermath of it. While it also, like, I know that Leos, for example, they may not be fully skilled to go through tower and death moments as easily as Scorpios do. So all my compassion goes to you, Leos. But I sense this full moon being very playful. And it also came to me that it might not even be the full moon's role in bringing this playfulness into the air. It might be some other planet constellation that should be getting the credits, but I'm not really into astrology, so I don't even want to go into it as if I know what's up, because I don't. I'm not really focused on it. Did I say hi? I didn't. Hi, welcome to my multidimensional living room. I'll be painting energies. My voice is somewhere. Yeah, I don't know what to do with my voice. So while I was sitting outside, I was shown that for those of us who have successfully solved the riddle of this full moon energy, it might be different for everybody, or I don't know how to say it. If you have successfully solved the riddle that this full moon presented to you, then there is some sort of flow of creativity that is unlocked for you as a reward or a consequence. But it was never meant to be like a cause and effect kind of a thing. It's never meant to be a reward or a consequence. It was always there. You just had to come in contact with it through solving the puzzle that was given to you. That puzzle might have been what I painted in the previous painting, the field recalibration. In that painting over there, some things have left unsaid because my battery was low. And so this is so sad when my paintbrush is not paintbrushing. Okay. Yeah, I didn't really get into all the details of what I wanted to say in that painting because I was kind of in a rush. Okay. Yeah. So I'll see if something resurrects itself in this painting. yeah, that creative energy that is kind of coming like a river flowing down. It's just like, it's a lot. It's a lot. It might be showing itself not just in form of, oh, I feel inspired to create a painting, but also it might be showing itself in spikes of unusual sexual activities, or like unusual spikes of sexual activities. Or it might show itself as in a little bit more like delicate, sophisticated, tiny almost ways of creating life from the new field. So this is, okay, so this is like continuation of the past painting, because the past painting was kind of unfinished due to low battery. So in the past painting there was a topic of, in the energy of field recalibration, where there were like old fields being reactivated in your reality so that you can experience how you used to operate from like prior conditionings, so that you can realize which behaviors and feelings and how you operate basically from that field. And there was also like a new field simultaneously open where you can step out from the old field, right? And so this new field, this new wave of creativity actually might be necessary for designing this new field. And that new field, I feel, is kind of like it's holding you, but it's also that you're holding it. It's like a mutual relationship that is very reciprocal. It's like a reciprocal relationship with life. Kind of like I don't know how does that translate. But yeah, it's like a reciprocal relationship with life, where you get to determine terms and conditions. You get to say something and let the life speak back to you in a new way, in a different way than it has been done before. This is why I like this full moon in Leo as I'm filming this, because it kind of comes as I'm getting a vision of somebody sitting at a table and somebody else coming with like a bunch of documents with printed words that contain like, what's going on here? This is what you need to know. And then you're taking those documents and you're reading through them, but there is nothing really new for you in your awareness. It's like everything has been there already. You're just kind of uncovering it. And there are things that have been there before for quite some time, maybe even years and decades, right in front of you, but you were unable to see them because you were operating from the previous field of conditioning that kind of imprinted within you some certain lens and ways of navigating and relating to other people and feeling and experiencing, and perhaps you even had some certain responsibilities that were kind of playing out almost like a little like mini insanities within that field. And because of that, you weren't able to see the real truth on the other side. And now as you step out of that old field of conditioning into the new field of being, you see the same situation that perhaps triggered that old field in a completely different light. So your old field is kind of not standing in the way of seeing something directly and giving you information about what it actually is. Yeah. And then if there was any kind of pain, fear or discomfort in seeing things for what they are, like the true nature of some things or some people that might be in your experience or something. If there was any kind of resistance towards seeing it, now you also get to see that, or as you're standing in this new activated field, you get to see that the truth is actually less painful than you subconsciously thought. Perhaps you never even thought about how painful the truth is, but for some reason you've been avoiding it by kind of hiding in this old field. And now the truth is revealed to you, and you realize that actually you've been inflicting way much more pain to yourself by seeing things the way you were seeing them, rather than seeing the truth for what it is. It's like truth is way less painful and way less uncomfortable than living with those lenses that were installed in your field previously. Perhaps also because after you step out of that field, which is also uncomfortable, you kind of build tolerance and resilience to be able to hold and handle seeing certain things. In the previous painting, I also noticed that energy that kind of is available to be activated now, after your perhaps whole life of trying to activate it but never really get to that point, and eventually even giving up and realizing that perhaps maybe that energy is simply not for you. But now it is, because now you have this new field that is holding you, and you're holding it. Like, you have tools, abilities and skills to hold that new field as it holds you. And in this new field, that energy that you wanted for yourself kind of has a space to land. Yeah. So in the same way, you also have more capacity to see things differently than what you previously saw them, because you didn't really saw them, you only saw like that overlay of yourself. Yeah. And this full moon kind of comes and just like takes that overlay and moves you into another field. Speaking of that new field, I feel like this painting should have been red, but it's blue. And while I was sitting outside, I was seeing something in the building that was in front of me. It's kind of like this. Yeah. There are like 4 different apartments at the same time having red lights turned on in their rooms. And I forgot something again. So for the previous painting, I was told to say the words pleasure, 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 and I forgot. And then I was reminded to say pleasure, pleasure, pleasure here again, and then I forgot. So now I'm saying it. Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Which was something that I was reminded of as I was sitting outside and I was watching at the building. Watching at the building, looking at the building, watching the building. And I noticed like 4 different apartments with red lights turned on. And like seeing them all simultaneously kind of gave me some like candy vibe, like a very sweet vibe. It's like when you have like a red candy that is like hard, but it's very satisfying. And then it connected with this pleasurable vibe and this playful vibe. It's as if like there's like a brand new field, brand new chapter. It was just like, it gave me the feeling as if like something pleasurable, something fun, something playful is like right around the corner. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. Because I'm often getting words and energies that I don't think they are YouTube friendly, but they might be in the membership channel, in the membership section of the channel. And I would love to activate the membership, but I need like 1,000 people. So well, we're almost there. I know that we talked about desire on this channel, and I think this is one of the things that remained talked about from the last paintings. It's like a relationship with the desire, because it was coming up for me quite often. It's like from the old field that has been temporarily reactivated. There was also like a part of the script of that field, you might have noticed, which refers to what type of relationship you have with desiring things. So if you don't have any desires, and if you live without desires, it might be because in the old field, desires were not really desirable. Because perhaps in the early days of your human existence, having a desire would be a topic of uncomfortable conversations, or it would trigger somebody. It would trigger their inability to provide that desire or fulfillment of that desire for you. Or it would perhaps be overanalyzed. Or it would be rerouted, or you would be rerouted into wanting something else that you don't want, actually. It's like somebody raped your wanting for whatever reason. And it was easier to not want things than want them and then be disappointed because you can't get what you want. So it was kind of easier to just give up the concept of having desires. And I know that like I personally also went through this so many times in life, when I would find myself being completely broke, not even having money for food, and then somebody would come and be like, hey, how are you doing? And I'd be like, I'm fine, I'm okay. I don't need anything. And sometimes in life, like earlier, like when I would go through life without needing anything, you know, just like very minimum amount of belongings, very minimum amount of need for space, like that was always convenient for other people. Like people who wouldn't want to extend themselves or challenge themselves to grow in order to experience more. People who were totally fine with having a little bit and they didn't want to get out of their comfort zone. It's like for them, it was totally fine. Actually, it was desirable and preferable and very valuable that I need nothing. But then, that's not really a place to be for forever, I found out. And this, like the riddle that this full moon kind of brings also, to me also illuminated that aspect of like how I used to be in a relationship with the desire from an old activated field, and how that relationship can actually and has changed in the new field. Where in the new field, and it's kind of like it's fitting with what I'm picking up on now, is like in the new field you get to experience how is it to desire things not as something that is an indicator that you're unhealed or that you're broken or that you need an insight that you need to intellectualize or something, but rather as a like life telling you that it wants to be lived in that specific way of how your desire shows up to be experienced. So it's kind of like life calling you to go out and play, go out and live life in whatever form you want, like whatever it is that comes to you as like, oh, I'd like to experience that. So there's kind of also this like recalibration period of learning the safety, or teaching yourself that it is safe to want something. And it doesn't mean that you're not enlightened because you have a desire. It means that you're alive and that life wants to happen through you. And it shows me that people who come from this kind of old fields where relationship with the desire has been kind of raped, sorry for the lack of better terms, often like are very compatible with this spaces, spiritual spaces where lack of desire is seen as virtue. And I'm not saying that it isn't, but the way I'm seeing it is that it becomes a virtue when you organically, experientially, through your own full walkings through the life, come to the point of realizing that you don't need it because you had it. It's not a teaching, it's not an idea that you should practice and strip yourself away from it. It's not like you're impure if you want something. But there's like an organic development. I'm seeing like literally like a flower blooming, not blooming, growing and blooming. But before blooming, it has to grow. It's a like wanting and fulfilling the desire is part of the process before you come to the point where you realize that you wanted everything that you wanted and now you don't want it anymore. Yeah. And hearing things like, just allow yourself to want things, doesn't really do the trick, because it's not about, it just, no, it just doesn't work that way. Because what is really necessary is to see why you don't want certain things. And then when you see that the reason why you don't want certain things is because you were conditioned not to want certain things. And then seeing the freedom of stepping into another field where you're allowed to want. And I'm seeing all kind of like pop-up windows like appearing in the reality of resurrected desires that previously were perhaps even it's like if you've had some sort of desires your whole life and then like you end up being in the space where fulfillment of that desire is the business of the space that you're in. So you can have it anytime, anyhow, however you want, whatever you want, it's there for you, just say the word. And you're looking at the fulfillment and you're like, nah, I don't want this anymore. No, really, no. And you might be in this space for like 10 years and looking at the fulfillment of your desire, like being demonstrated by other people and being like, no, I'm... I want to use a word that I'm not allowed to use on YouTube. So yeah, we need a safer space. It's like those kind of desires, like when you realize that the reason why you don't want them might be showing up again in the field where you're allowed to create your own terms and conditions of relationships to that desire. Where it might be a little bit more based on curiosity and play and lightheartedness. Like, reminds me of like, there were so many people in life that, in connection with whom we kind of used each other as tools to break into our own psyche so that we can understand ourselves a little bit better. And that's something that is kind of belonging to an old field of like being conditioned into a certain way, like where you might even experience connections as simply a tool for healing. But it doesn't always need to be that way. So it kind of shows me that now it doesn't even have to be that complicated. Like you don't necessarily need to experience your desire in order to heal, in order to get that missing clue, in order to become whole, or in order to fix yourself, or in order to improve yourself, or in order to like achieve something. You might just experience this. I think the camera stopped recording at the time when I said that you can experience desires as a mean to play. I'm feeling a lot of heaviness as I'm speaking about this, but it's not necessarily, it's like the heaviness is from the old field, and there's like a new field where like partly I feel like, why are we even talking about this? Why are we talking about this? Because that's what comes easy to me. Experiencing desire as a mean of play. It's like a child would experience a desire again to play because they're curious. It's like your survival doesn't depend on fulfilling that desire anymore. It's like you can just activate your curiosity and go out and play and see what happens if you come a little closer to what is it that you want. What is it that is currently activated within your field that is serving as your desire? Do you want to hang out with somebody? Do you want to talk? Do you want to buy certain things? Do you want to go for a trip? On a trip. Like whatever it is that you kind of want. Any kind of quirky experience. It's like if previously you needed like deep meaning, you needed like deep resonance, if previously you needed clues and insights and healing and inspiration of some sort, it's like now there is more space to just be. To experience the desire just for being, just for the experience of it. Okay, I can't touch the paint yet, because clearly there is something else that needs to be said. Yeah, I'm getting the tightness in the solar plexus, which, you know, can translate in worthiness and deservingness. But I kind of also sense that even these terms are kind of too heavy. And we just like, we're complicating so much as adults. Like, we're complicating so fucking much. Something that is supposed to be so innocent and alive, just like a child play. And this like open curiosity of like, what happens? What happens if I talk to that person? What happens if I invite them out? What happens if I send this signal in the universe? It doesn't even have to be like something that you gotta do something, but you might wanna. Just coming to terms within yourself first and foremost, like, how would life actually change if I would do certain things that I previously didn't, because I kind of learned that it's easier that way, while living in the consequences of how actually difficult it is to live that way. I'm looking at this that found its way to my table right now. I usually hold it here. I just heard, take a kaleidoscope, I want you to see what I see. Yeah, that spark of life is kind of back in this new field. It's like the amber is going through the air. think that's a moonlight. I think that's a moonlight going through all the apartments that have red lights turned on. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel so that I can actually go to the membership site where we can talk a little bit more freely. Thank you for liking and commenting and everything else. If you want your own personal painting or anything related to it, reading or painting of other kind, links are down below. For now, I'm talking, this is the 4th video already where I'm talking about changing links. I'm transferring domains and that takes forever, so when it's ready, it will be ready. Once again, thank you for being here. Ciao.